Once upon a time, there was a peacock. This peacock's name was Aaron. He liked to peacock about in the leaves, sometimes on the branches. Occasionally he would peacock on leafy branches, but most of the time he just peacocked on branches. Once upon a time, those peacocks met a fox. This fox stood about in the forest where he lived. He stood in amongst the leaves and looked at the butterflies. And he also stood amongst the white lilies of the forest. In this forest, the fox lived in a tiny, oddball house. He would come out and speak to other foxes. We don't know what he would say. And foxes would speak to foxes among other foxes. And then these foxes met some deer, some white deer, some oddly afraid and startled orange deer, and some white and orange deer with flamy fur. One day, a deer met a squirrel. The squirrel looked at the deer and said, "I don't want to delete my picture." So the deer wandered off and found another deer with antlers and leaves. As the deer continued deering about in the forest, there was a serpent. And this serpent was slithery and sneaky and hissed a bunch. As he hissed one time, he hissed at an odd kind of ferrety-looking foxy lizard thing. And it startled the lizardy, foxy, ferrety thing. This serpent slithered up behind a weird zebra fox with fiery eyes. And this fiery fox lived in a hole in the darkness. Among our forest friends were some turkeys and squirrels and birds, and turkeys with knives threatening their young. And there was a little squirrel and a chipmunk. The chipmunk was quite startled at the other squirrel thing because he looked like he had wings. So weird. And finally we all went to church, where there was a small owl outside in the grass, owling about. As he owled, he lifted his wings and flapped them as he flew away. He flew above the goats. He flew above the white goats. And then he found his friend, the other owl. And these owls lived amongst the goats, happily ever after.